Hi folks, thank you for joining us today. My name is Alice and I'm Head of Student Operations over at Command Shift. Today I'm joined by Joe, who is the Talent Acquisition Lead for BJSS. He's going to be talking to you all about the BJSS Academy. Feel free to ask questions throughout. We will go through them at the end. But yeah, get involved, ask what you need to ask, find out what you need to know, and I will hand it over to Joe.
Hello everyone. So as Ali said, my name's Joe. I work at a company called BJSS, and in the capacity as the talent acquisition lead for all of our early careers roles. So throughout the presentation, I'll just give you a bit of an overview of who BJSS are and what we do, and then obviously a bit more detail about our academy program, which is the route that if you join through kind of an early careers pathway you'd usually go through. So I've been with the business coming up to 5 years. Started off in just a general recruitment role and I've been looking after our academy for the past kind of 3 years or so. I've got about 10 years experience in recruitment, mainly working, always working within the IT industry, mainly in-house. So yeah, let's dive in. We're going to go to the next slide. Why is it not changing? Okay. Cool. So to give you a bit of a general overview of BJSS, kind of who we are and what we do. So we are, what's going on here? Sorry, for some reason I can't really tell where the view is. Right, sorry. So we are leading technology and engineering consultancy. So we work with kind of lots of different organisations across numerous different sectors and industries, mainly building kind of bespoke software solutions for them. So we've been going for actually coming up to 30 years now. So it'll be 30 years in May since we were founded, and we were actually founded here in Leeds, where I'm based, but now we operate out of 26 different locations, of which I'll come on to a little bit further down in the presentation. With over 2,500 people based across those sites, so a pretty good size organisation now. We've kind of lots of different locations where we're based. We focus specifically on kind of the end-to-end delivery of solutions. So it means that we can actually deliver products for our client from start to finish. So we've got a wide range of different services to support our clients with their delivery of software solutions. And I'll go into those in a little bit more detail shortly. We have won a wide range of different awards throughout our kind of 30 years of working, but we've got one that we won recently that's kind of really relevant for our academy was the Princess Royal Training Award, something that obviously I was quite heavily involved with, so to be proud of, and that was an award that was awarded to us for the work that we've done in regards to getting people into the tech sector, so providing opportunity for people looking to develop their skills and careers within technology, and obviously we actually got the opportunity to go and meet Princess Anne last year and go and collect that award. So that was kind of quite nice to be kind of recognised for the work that we're doing with our academy in particular. We work with a wide range of different kind of providers. We were well recognised as kind of a public, a partner of AWS, but also Microsoft, and kind of accredited across the board with a lot of the possible accreditations that you can receive from them. And I guess there's some really good opportunities for people to gain their personal accreditations within the business as well. Okay. So what exactly do? Oh, one second. I don't, for some reason, it's not the right presentation. I'm not sure why it's sharing this one. One second, let me go. I think it might be an old presentation that I sent for you before, and when I selected the slides, it's just done that.
But I'm want me to remove this one?
Yeah, if you could do. I think because that's what confused me, because when I went to the next slide, it was a different presentation, and I was like, where's that come from?
That's fine. So I've removed that one. So
okay, cool. I think it's just from the last time we did it. It must be
right.
because it's been updated since then. So if I just share, right? If I share screen too. Oh no, let me share. I don't really know how to bloody do that. Window. There we go. What can you? That's not what you want. You want this one. This is confusing. I've never used this platform for this.
No, it's okay. It is confusing.
Right. I'm not sure why it's sharing, because it's when I show it, it's trying to share the one where it's got the notes on as well. Present. Right. Okay. Share screen. Share screen. I want to share. So can you just see? All right. Let me just. If I share this here, can you see that?
There.
Because I can't see the call anymore. But can you see that? That doesn't really matter too much. Can you see?
It's on. I can see it. You've got the right one. You've got the
Okay,
one.
perfect. Right, that works. That kind of threw me off a little bit. Okay, cool. So yeah, all that's very very similar in terms of what I mentioned previously. So yeah, complete end-to-end delivery. We've got kind of a strong pedigree enabling innovative solutions, including cloud, AI, data, and automation, of which I'll go into a little bit more detail shortly. All of the work that we do is underpinned by our enterprise agile delivery approach. So I'm sure you probably touched upon agile as part of your kind of boot camp. We've actually created our own approach called enterprise agile. There's lots more information about that on our website, including a book that we've written. So it's really just our own take on agile, so implementing certain aspects of that within organizations kind of on an enterprise level, on an enterprise scale, and it's something that we try to implement across the business as a whole. So it's not just done on the projects we deliver for our clients, but also how we work as a business overall. So we see it as obviously a way of being more collaborative and working closer together, being more reactive, and obviously being more agile. And we actually implement certain aspects of that in the work that we do in internal teams. So within the recruitment team that I work within, we have kind of morning stand-ups, we have retrospectives to look over kind of previous work that we've done. Before I moved into the academy team, we used to work in sprints as well, and we'd also have like in the office, we had like a Kanban board, so it was like a visible representation of moving candidates throughout the process. So yeah, it's a big part of what we do as a business, and we just see it as a way of being more collaborative, not just within our internal teams, but also working more closely with the clients. So if you are interested in finding a bit more about that, there is kind of an ebook available, and I can send a link to Alice who can forward that on to you afterwards. Okay, great. So what exactly is it that we do? So as I mentioned before, we offer kind of like full end-to-end solutions for our clients for delivering software. But that kind of comes in kind of a number of different forms. So we've got kind of a really well thought out service catalog, which we developed in close consultation with our clients. So speaking with the clients we worked with over a long period of time, finding out actually what it is that they're looking to get out of their relationship with us, or if there's particular areas that they struggle to complete themselves. We were able to come up with quite a large offering of services. So they now have 9 tightly integrated offerings that can either be applied individually, so on their own, or as a full bespoke end-to-end solution. So we actually have particular clients where you might just offer one of these particular services, whereas the majority will do kind of on a much larger scale, and we might actually offer these as a full package. So we've got extensive experience across all of the areas within these, from the early life cycle, from things like strategy and transformation. So we've got a consultancy arm of the business that go out to organisations early on and start to speak to them about kind of any particular problems that they're having, implement a new digital strategy where we can actually then bring on board the more technical teams to come and implement those. We've got kind of a design and innovation team that they can come on first of all as well, so they can start to look at actually things like user research, user experience, user interface design, start to design the services that we are going to build for them, and then kind of lots of other technical areas as well. So I guess the key area of work that we we focus on, and it's kind of our bread and butter, and you're most likely to get involved with is the technology and engineering space. So that's actually the hands-on doing and delivery of these particular systems. But a lot of these other services kind of underpin that. So we obviously we can design those beforehand. We can provide the strategy to actually how we might implement those. We actually then have a managed service team. So our managed service team are there to support and kind of improve systems once we've actually built them for our clients. So it just means that we can actually build those relationships for a longer period. Once we've built a project, once we've built a system, we can actually then sit alongside our clients and support their users, looking to continuously improve that and ensure that it's working as it is, fit for purpose. A couple of kind of newer areas that we're looking at the moment, we've got low code and automation. So looking at actually how we can implement systems like Microsoft Power Platforms, and you can use those kind of off-the-shelf systems to create certain solutions that can be kind of rolled out quicker because having to develop the code ourselves. Cybersecurity is a big area that we're looking to move into at the moment as well. So we've always had a focus towards security on the projects that we've worked upon, but we haven't offered specific cybersecurity services. We're seeing more and more of our clients asking whether or not that's something that we'll be able to support them with. So we've started to create a capability to be able to do that. Data and AI as well is quite a big growth area at the moment. Obviously, we see more and more organisations looking to utilise the data that they have available to them, kind of because it's become more and more important in terms of the way that they want to inform the business decisions they have, using the data that they've got available to them. So that's a kind of a big and interesting area that we're moving into, and also sustainability is quite a hot topic, and we're seeing more and more our clients coming to us about how they can become more sustainable as an organisation, whether that be implementing new systems that allow them to be more sustainable. So that might be like a new logistics platform or a platform that allows them to manage how kind of their carbon footprint, or providing insights and advice around how they can streamline my teams or cut down on certain kind of emissions. It's something that's quite important to us as an organisation. Again, if you've done some research into BJSS beforehand, you might have seen some of our own initiatives online. So we've got kind of plans to become carbon neutral in the not too distant future, and also a number of kind of environmental schemes that we've got going at the moment, including Greenfield, which is a project that we've got where we bought, the owners of the company have bought some land in the Yorkshire Dales, and are looking to actually repopulate that with indigenous plant life, and also kind of the wildlife as well. So trying to give back to the environment where we possibly can, which is great. As mentioned before, a lot of all the services that we offer are still underpinned by kind of enterprise agile. So it's kind of its core to everything that we do, and I guess that's one of our key selling points, and what we try to put across to our clients is that we've got this really well thought out and proven process, and it's something that we've used successfully on numerous occasions before, and it's something that will help us to ensure that hopefully there's obviously the projects that we're delivering are delivered in the right way. So there's a bit more information there about some of the accreditations that we've got that I already mentioned. So as you can see, we work quite heavily with a wide range of different cloud platforms. So I guess if that's an area that's of interest for you, there's some really good opportunities for you to get involved and work on different technologies across a variety of different areas. Cool. We're going to go to the next page. Great. So there's I guess, why would people want to, I suppose, work for BJSS or work with us? I guess this kind of both sides. So these can be particular reasons that we speak to our clients, but there might also be reasons as to why, as an individual, you might want to work here yourself. So there's a strong emphasis on relationships. So the customers trust us because we're open and we speak with candor. So I guess, but the opportunity for us to build those long-term relationships means that we continuously get repeat business with the same clients. So we've got particular clients we've worked with for well over a decade, some for even longer, and it just means that we've always got a stable kind of body of work in place. So as an employee, you know that you've always got kind of those long-term relationships and projects that we've worked on for a long period of time in place. That means that you don't have to worry about whether or not there's projects for you to be working on. It also means that because we built those relationships with our clients, there's a lot of trust there. So it gives us a bit more flexibility and scope to do what we want, rather than having to go back to the clients and continuously ask them for their approval. They have worked with us for a long time. They know the type of work that we do. They know that we're going to do a good job. So it means that obviously, it means that on particular projects, you actually can get on and do the work rather than having to worry about whether or not the client are going to be happy with what you're doing. So it gives us that flexibility and kind of a bit more free reign to kind of do what we're good at. Technical excellence. So we want to hire the best people and deliver the best possible solutions that we possibly can. So I guess in turn, that means that you get the opportunity to work with some really kind of bright and technical people. So it's a really good environment for you to learn and develop your skills, because you get to work alongside all these talented people on a day-to-day basis. You also get to work on some really exciting and interesting projects and get to deliver solutions that you're proud of. So it's something that we pride ourselves on, is always doing the best possible job. So we don't want to kind of deliver just the minimum viable products. We want to make sure that we're doing the best possible solution for our clients. I guess it ties into those relationships that we built. We feel comfortable going back and pushing back to them if there's a particular way that we feel that things could be done better. It might not always be the easy way to do things, but we want to make sure we're doing it the right way. So it means obviously you can work on some projects you can be proud of, alongside some kind of talented and technical people. So we've got kind of strong sustainable growth. So we're constantly growing and evolving business. We have grown quickly over the past kind of 5 years in particular. So as mentioned, I've been here for almost 5 years now. When I joined the business, there was just over 1,200 people. We're now at 2,500, so we've more than doubled in size. In terms of locations, we've opened up a further, I think, 17 or 18 new sites since I've been here, and we've still got some quite ambitious plans to continue with that growth. So that's exploring new markets in terms of new locations. So actually, I've already earmarked some further international sites that we're looking to open over the next few years. Looking at consolidating those locations where we already based. So is there new client opportunities in those particular locations to continue to grow those particular offices, and also, as mentioned before, always looking at new services that we can provide to our clients as well. So since I've joined, there's and I'll touch upon, there's a number of those services that we're involved with now, where either very new to the business or have been implemented. And so things like our consultancy, so management and strategic consultancy services, we only implemented that about 5 or 6 years ago. The design arm of the business is fairly new as well, and also looking at things like cybersecurity. So as a business, we've grown quickly but sustainably. That's come from actually recognizing possible opportunities in the market and going after them, really. We offer kind of a full end-to-end portfolio of services. So it means that we actually can manage those projects in-house from start to finish. I guess from the perspective of yourselves, it's really good because you get to see a project through from the start to finish. So you get to actually see how a full project runs and being heavily involved with that all the way throughout, and not having to kind of pass it over to the client before it's finished. So you actually get to see how a project works fully, and you actually can see something through, which is great. We've got a very collaborative culture, so that's not just working or collaborating with our clients, which is really important for us, but also within our teams. So there is a very strong emphasis on teamwork in the business as a whole. So working alongside your project teams, because obviously there's utilizing people's experiences and skills is only going to be beneficial to making sure that we're building the best possible solutions, but also across the wider business as well. So within the IT industry, you're constantly having to learn new skills and pick up new ways of working as it is, because it's constantly changing and evolving. But that's even more apparent within a consultancy, because as you move between projects, you're having to learn about new industries. Within those new industries, there's new regulations you might have to follow. Then you also might be using new technologies and new tools, and working within different teams. So actually understanding how you work with your colleagues as well. So it's constantly evolving in terms of you having to learn. So we put in place kind of lots of resources to help people collaborate more closely. So we've got various different Slack communities. We've got lots of internal resources. We kind of regularly run kind of knowledge sharing events and kind of company overviews of what's happening or what's happening as a company in a whole or on particular projects, and also opportunities for you to get involved and do like further training that we've developed as a business as well. So there's a big emphasis on collaboration and people sharing their experiences and knowledge. So again, hopefully it's a really good place for you to start your career, because it gives you it's a great place for you to gain exposure to lots of different ways of working and different kind of technologies and tools. And something which is quite rare probably of a company of our size is we are still privately owned. So we've been going for almost 30 years. I said in May it'll be 30 years, and it's still the two same people who started the business who are 100% owners of the organisation. I guess the positives around that are they've not had to make any drastic changes in the way that they want the business to be run because they take on board external investment. So the core values that they want, they kind of started the business with, are still kind of core to everything that we do, because they've not had to kind of change that at all. So there is a big emphasis on providing a nice environment for people to work within, providing opportunities for people to learn and develop. There's lots of social sides to the business that fortunately haven't gone away yet because they're trying to save money. So I think the fact that we are so privately owned is kind of a really positive thing about the business. So in terms of the types of organizations that we work with, so we work across a really wide range of industries. These are some of the core ones. We do actually have businesses that we work with outside of these, but this is kind of where our main bodies of work are based. So lots of work within financial services. There is a slide next which will go through some of the clients in a bit more detail, so you'll get to see exactly some of the people that we work with. But yeah, within financial services, lots of kind of high street banks, insurance banks, investment banks, so kind of lots of different businesses across financial services, lots of public sector clients. So the NHS are a really big client of ours. We do a lot of work with the Home Office, and various other government bodies. We also work within kind of outside of the NHS with private healthcare providers as well. So health and social care is a big client of ours. Lots of work within commodities and utilities, and retail and consumer markets. And within those, there's a real wide range of different projects that you might get exposure to working on. So you've got kind of public facing applications that are used by their customers on a day-to-day basis, internal systems that their employees will use, and various other systems. So although we work with these, even if you worked within one particular industry, there's still that opportunity to work on a wide range of different projects, and kind of get exposed to lots of different ways of working. So I think as well, one that's probably worth mentioning, even if you joined and you start working in one particular sector, that doesn't mean that you're going to solely work within that sector within your time within BJSS. We do have people who specialize in those industries. They're more on the kind of consultancy side, so they're individuals who will build up a good knowledge base of those particular sectors and industries, so they can provide insights to our clients around kind of what's going on with those markets at this time, if there's anything that their key competitors are doing, and ways that we can perhaps match that, or help them to compete against them. But if you're working in the technical teams, you don't have to kind of specialize in a particular industry. If you've got a particular industry that you're interested in, you can always put in a request to work in that. So I guess a good example would be like health and social care. Lots of people do seem to like working on the NHS projects. They're the kind of projects that have a big impact. So it's something that can affect all of us who live here in the UK. If you can implement a system that helps improve people's experiences of attending a hospital or accessing like medical services, it's something that's going to have a positive impact on all of us at some point. So people do generally seem to like working on those because it's something that you can have a visible impact on, and it's something that might help yourself as well. Cool. So this is a bit of an overview of some of the clients that we work with. It's not kind of an exhaustive list, but hopefully on there are some organizations that you have come across before or you recognize, and it gives you a bit of an idea of the variety, but also the size and the scale of the industries that we work or the clients that we work with. So to give you a few examples of some of the projects that we've been involved with. So starting with, say, the NHS. So we've worked on, currently we think we work on around like 25 to 30 different projects with them across NHS, NHS Digital, NHS England, or various different NHS trusts. Probably the biggest project that we've worked on with them, and we still do support, is a system called NHS Spine. So we rebuilt the NHS Spine platform, which is the world's largest public healthcare platform. So it's actually like the main kind of system that sits across the whole of the NHS estate. So when you go to your doctors or a hospital and you're bringing up someone's medical records, it does that in real time and it updates it in real time. So it means that you can access those medical records wherever you are in the country, as long as it's integrated within the NHS. So let's say it's the world's largest public healthcare platform. It's also the world's largest open source database and deals with over 1 billion messages a week with no message loss. So it's really kind of large scale, high performing system. We actually kind of built and implemented that over 10 years ago now, but we still support that within our managed service team. So we've got live support, continuously looking at making sure that that's working. It's very important that there is no issues or it's never down, because obviously it's dealing with people's medical records. And it's really important that they're up to date and accessible when people are attending hospitals. Sticking with the NHS, some other project so we've worked on with them. So something that probably you may have all used over the past few years will have been the NHS app. So that was implemented a few years ago to provide people with greater access to NHS services. So you can access medical records, repeat prescriptions, or you can look at things like booking hospital appointments. So that was something that was created so people to make it more straightforward for them to be able to do those sorts of things. But over the past couple of years, they also implemented the vaccine passports and the access to test results, which was in place during COVID. So we've kind of put in place that new functionality. So if you did travel through COVID and you were going to a country where you're required to provide evidence that you either were vaccinated or you had a negative test result, you would do so through the NHS app, and that was actually an application that we built and also built in that new functionality. There's various other systems across the NHS, from back-end systems like electronic referral systems to other public-facing applications as well that we've been involved with. I think actually one that was we did as a trial, I don't know if it's actually been fully implemented yet, was with the London Ambulance Service. So until we created this application, the ambulance service never actually had access to everyone's full medical records when they were out at the side of the road. So we actually built a mobile application that allowed them to access the main back-end systems to bring up people's medical records, so they could actually give the best possible care to individuals in their ambulance without having to wait until they got to the hospital. So hopefully that would have a really good impact on providing the best possible care to individuals and ensuring that they hopefully could save lives, because they've got the ability to see what their medical records were before they have to actually go to the hospitals. A few other systems that we've been involved with developing and building, or we currently are. So again, something that a lot of you might have encountered if you've done your driving test. So if you've done your practical driving test until relatively recently, you actually would the instructor would actually put down all of the results on a piece of paper and go and update that in the office once they want to complete the test. We actually built a mobile application which allowed people to do that in real time, obviously saving them having to repeat doing the results over and over again. We created a couple of systems for the Home Office. So first of all, following on from Brexit, we helped to put in place the system that allowed people European nationals to apply for pre-settled status, and also we've been working with them quite a lot recently to allow Ukrainian refugees to be able to apply for asylum in the UK. Some of the work we've done in the financial services industry. So we worked with NatWest to implement their Apple Pay when that came back into play in the UK a few years ago, and they were actually the only one of the big four banks which were ready to do that for their UK launch after the work that we'd done. We worked with the Co-op as well to help repurpose their membership platform. So if you're a member of the Co-op, we've worked with people. We worked with HSBC to rebuild their mortgage platform. Waitrose with their self-scanning systems when you go and scan your own shopping around the shops. Yeah, so there's a really kind of wide range of different projects, and hopefully they'll give you a bit of an idea of some of the kind of the size and the scale of some of those that you might be able to get involved with. Cool. So as I mentioned before, we have a lot of offices, and I think this was just to give you an idea of the different locations where we're based. I think one of the great things about working for a company that has so many different sites and locations is the opportunities to travel, or if in the long term you wanted to relocate to a different location, there is support for you to do that without the worry of having to kind of look for a new role. So we've got, you can see our UK sites. We've got an office now in pretty much all of the major cities in the UK, and we've also kind of got more and more international sites opening on a regular basis. In terms of opportunities to start as someone on our academy, so as an academy engineer, we don't currently have opportunities at all of these locations. Longer term, if you wanted to move to them, you probably could do. But to begin with, we've got roles in Birmingham, Bristol, Cardiff, Glasgow, Leeds, London, Manchester, Newcastle, Nottingham, Sheffield, and then also Lisbon and Porto. But obviously, if you're a UK national, it's more difficult to get the right to work in Lisbon and Porto straight away. So that might be something that we'd look to kind of do in the future if you were looking to move to those sites. So yeah, there's chances to go to the international sites as well. Whenever they've got roles available, they always do advertise them internally, and they'll support you with any relevant kind of right to work documents that you might need if you require sponsorship, and obviously support with you kind of relocating out there as well. So yeah, because it's just nice the fact that there's so many different places to go to, and some of them obviously in quite interesting and exciting locations like New York and Melbourne, and say some nice sunny places in Portugal as well. So the academy itself. So what exactly is the academy? So as I mentioned before, this would be the route that people would join if you were to join the business as kind of an early careers recruit, and it's really about providing a bit more structure and a bit more support for individuals who are starting their career in technology. So it's a centralized team within BJSS. So we're a team of, I think, 8 now. So we sit within BJSS, but we're our own kind of self-managing team, and we look after all of the everything really to do from the initial kind of recruitment all the way through training you up, supporting you into kind of getting onto projects, and then helping you to grow and develop within the organization. So I look after the recruitment here. So I manage the recruitment team. It's myself and 2 others. So we will be the people who conduct all the initial telephone screenings. We manage the process in terms of getting you booked for interviews. We do events like this where we're talking about the opportunities and going out to organisations and universities to meet with possible recruits as well. And I think it's quite nice because you've got kind of one point of contact throughout the whole process, because we also get quite heavily involved with the onboarding, and also we'll be visible once you've joined the business as well. So it's nice to know someone from the start, and they're also kind of involved throughout the kind of onboarding process. We then look to train you up. So everyone who joins will go through some formalized training at the start. So I'll go into that in a little bit more detail on the next couple of slides. But yeah, before you actually get placed onto any projects, we'll give you some training around kind of expectations or as an employee within BJSS in general, some of the softer skills that you'll need, and then going into some more technical detail around some of the skills that you'll require. We also then look to provide you with extra support. So we feel that we want to get you on a project as soon as we can after that training period. So the training period is the initial 5 weeks, but there's no point of dumping on a project without any help and support, because you're not going to be the finished article by any means at that point. So it's actually probably more important that we get all that relevant support in place before you get placed into a project to help you to continue your development and growth. And again, I'll go through what that looks like shortly. And then we also help you to kind of hopefully grow and develop within the business. So we work closely with you to understand what you're looking to get out of the role, and how we can support you to kind of achieve those objectives, through whether that be through providing opportunities on projects or getting you involved with further training and development, just providing you with the right type of advice or the right connections within the business, to ensure that you've got the help and guidance that you need. Cool. So who is the Academy for? So it initially started out when I first joined, it was really just a graduate scheme, and it was very much focused on people from specific degrees. But we realised that we were missing out on some really smart people because we had those quite stringent barriers in place. So we decided, first of all, to remove the requirements to have a specific degree, and then to remove the requirements to have a degree at all. So around about kind of 40% now are people who are kind of career changers, who've been through various different boot camps like yourselves, or they might have kind of taught themselves. So yeah, we've got kind of lots of university graduates from a wide range of different degree disciplines. We still obviously see lots of people coming from computer science and IT related degrees, but various different STEM degrees. We've got people who've come from kind of English, history degrees, philosophy degrees. So yeah, it's kind of really open and broad in terms of their backgrounds. We've got people who might have taken some time away from tech, so individuals who maybe taken a few years out of the industry. As you probably aware, it can change quite a lot in that time. So we wanted to give them give them some support to get them back up to speed, and help them with kind of a refresher to make sure that they've got the skills that they need to get back into the industry. Career changes. So again, let's say it's around about 40% of individuals now who join us who are career changers, and they're from a really kind of wide range of different backgrounds. So the back end of last year, we did like a bit of a survey of the previous roles that people had worked in prior to them joining, and there was over 40 different role types that people had previously worked within, and they were really varied. So we have quite a lot of people who previously worked as teachers, and people within retail, people who'd worked within kind of various different like support and operational roles. We had a couple of lawyers, some tradesmen, so there's a welder and a roofer, kind of people who'd worked in hospitality. There was a guy who used to be a croupier on a cruise ship. So yeah, it really quite a wide range of different people in terms of their backgrounds, and obviously that's been really good because it's really increased diversity in terms of people's skills that they've got and diversity of thought, because they've all come from very different experiences, and I think that's kind of lended itself to providing a better experience to everyone that's come through the program. And we also have kind of apprentices who fall under this as well, so from various different business areas that they'll move into, and actually we're currently looking at bringing on board some degree level apprentices for the first time later this year. So the key things that we're looking for are bright people who are kind of enthusiastic and passionate about technology. They're really kind of driven and interested and dedicated to learning new things. So don't get me wrong, there's going to be a lot to learn. It is quite intensive, but if you've got an interest and you're passionate about it, hopefully it's something that you're going to stick at, and you look to kind of develop your skills further. So as I mentioned before, we do have kind of a training program to begin with, and that's the first 5 weeks when you join the business, and it covers a wide range of different topics. If you are interested, we do have kind of a bit of a syllabus that I can forward on to you afterwards as well. It could give you a bit more of an in-depth overview, rather than kind of just going through it now. But yeah, it covers kind of core topics, so it's looking at things like your professional skills, so effective communication, how do you liaise with clients, how do you work within a team, presentation skills, those types of skills that are kind of beneficial for you in any role, but especially within a consultancy, and obviously within an environment where you're going to be working so collaboratively, it's important that you have those skills. You'll then look at Agile as a delivery methodology. You'll go into some more detail around kind of core software engineering principles from server side and also front end development. So it might be a lot of stuff that you've already covered in some of your boot camps, but it's actually refining it to how we work here at BJSS. So it's not designed to keep teaching from scratch. It's about obviously kind of refining those skills that you've got, and providing you with an overview of how we like to work and how we set up our teams and what we perceive to be best practices. You'll look at things like databases and data, cloud computing, software testing. So yeah, it covers a really wide range of different topics. It's very hands-on, so you'll do a lot of practical work. You'll work within teams an awful lot within that. It's delivered on a hybrid base model. So for the first week of the 5, everyone comes to Leeds. So it's a really good opportunity for you to get to meet other people on the program, get to meet some of the tutors. We used to do it all in person, but we changed to doing fully remote for COVID. But we were really keen to get back to doing at least some of it in person. I guess number one, it's a great opportunity to get to meet people. We can incorporate some social activities into that as well. But also, we wanted to do a bit of a mix because that's actually what it's most like once you place onto projects. So the way that we operate now is on a hybrid model. So there's going to be occasions where you're in the office with your colleagues and work alongside them, and other occasions when you're working remotely. So that's why we wanted to do it like that. So yeah, the following 4 weeks, following on from that first week in Leeds, you'll do Monday through Thursday from home, and then Fridays you'll go into a local office because they're quite practical. So again, it lends itself well to being there in person and with the rest of the people on the cohort. A few of the things that hopefully helps our training stand out, or the initial from kind of maybe some of our competitors, are that it's all practitioner led. So it's all delivered by individuals who work in these roles on a day-to-day basis. So these are people who are actually doing these positions. So they created and deliver the content. So who's better placed to be able to deliver you some training on what's required of a platform engineer than someone who's doing that on a day-to-day basis. So they take some time off project and come and deliver a couple of days on the academy, with the support of the academy tutors. So there's 2 guys, Dan and Alan, who are the technical people who are kind of full-time in the academy, and they help to kind of create the content and make sure that it flows and it fits together. But they then actually get the individuals who are working in these roles to come and actually deliver it on a day-to-day basis. That means that it's constantly kind of changing as well. So after every intake, we're always looking to change it, whether or not there's things that have changed within the market, if there's new technologies or new ways of working. We look to update that, so it's a constantly evolving kind of course, with the content always being improved and changed through looking at what's changed in the market, and also by speaking to individuals that have been through the program. So after you've completed the program, we will send out a survey to you kind of 6 months in and a year into your time within the business. It's fairly straightforward. It just asks you what you covered that was kind of really helpful. If there's any particular stuff that you've done on a regular basis that wasn't covered, that you wish it was, or if there's certain things that perhaps you were touched upon, but you've used them an awful lot on your projects, so you wish they would covered in more detail. So yeah, we're always looking to make sure we're improving it and making sure it's like I say, is fit for purpose. One of the things that we've put in place that hopefully has been really helpful for those who joined are some pre-learning materials. So prior to you join, about 4 to 6 weeks before you join the business, we get you set up onto our systems, and we'll send out some kind of learning and reading materials for you to have a look at before you join. So I think now it's up to 150 hours worth of materials that are available to you. There's not an expectation that you do all of that, but there is some core stuff that we suggest everyone looks at, because it's going to be really beneficial if you've got a general understanding of some of the concepts and some of the technologies that you're going to touch upon once you've joined the business on the academy prior to you joining. So you're not coming into it completely blind. You have a kind of a general overview of what you're going to cover. If you want to do all of it, you can do. If it's a particular area that you find that's of interest before you join, you can look at that in more depth. So hopefully it's just making sure that before you join, you're all in a good place to be kind of successful. As I touched on before, there's kind of lots and lots of support that's put in place post training, and again, we think this is more important. Well, from my perspective, I think this probably is more important than the training itself, because you're going to learn more once you place into a project and start to put into practice what you've been taught, than you would do in any kind of training environment. But you need to make sure it's the right type of environment for you, and you've got the right type of help around you in order to do that. So you'll have a number of different support functions in place that are available to everyone across BJSS, and some that are actually just specific for those that have come through our academy. So first of all, you'll be put into a squad. You'll have what's called a squad lead. They're like your day-to-day line manager. So they might not necessarily be someone who's on your project alongside you, but it's the person who will do your kind of quarterly and annual reviews. They'll provide feedback from your clients to you. They'll work with you to set your objectives. So they're kind of your general line manager you'd have within any role really. But they call it squad lead because you actually get put within a squad of individuals as well, and that's more of a social aspect. So the squad lead is there as your line manager, but you've got the kind of wider squad there for just general questions if you have them, and also it's a nice opportunity for you to get to meet other people from across the business. So you have like squad socials, and it's a good way for you to kind of build some relationships with different people across BJSS. We have the buddy scheme, which is for people specifically who come through the academy. So we actually partner you up with someone who's been through the academy previously, so someone who's got first-hand experience of going through the program. So they're really well placed to be able to answer any questions or queries that you might have because they've actually done it themselves in the past. So they've got first-hand experience of being in your situation. It's a very informal relationship, and it's on you to actually decide how often or how little you'd like to speak to them. So there's not any kind of official process in place. It's really there just for your support and your development. But yeah, if they when you first join, you can ask them around kind of what training they did that they found really helpful and useful, if there's any particular things that they wish they would have known beforehand, and just general support like that. But they've been in that situation, so I guess they're kind of really well placed to be able to help with it. You'll also be provided with a technical mentor. So this is going to be probably someone who's more senior than your buddy, who can actually help you with more technical questions or queries. Not that your buddy can't, but this individual obviously will be more kind of technologically advanced in terms of their experience. They can provide insights around maybe training you might want to focus on. They could give you general career advice, or kind of just there as a mentor really. Again, it's fairly informal process. They're solely there for your support and development, and the emphasis on you to kind of to work with them. Whereas kind of your squad lead's more of a line manager thing, and there's official process in place where they have to have a general reviews and catch up with you. Your technical mentor is just in place to help with your development. So whenever you need them, if there's a particular question or a problem you can't solve on your project, and you feel more comfortable going speaking to them than someone else on your project, then you can do. That's there for that for that support. If you join the business, you'll be placed into a capability. So no matter what, so depending on what role you're in, so if you say you're a software engineer, we've got like a software engineering capability. If you're a platform engineer, there's a platform engineering capability, and they kind of look at kind of what best practices are within that particular area of the business. So your capability lead will be a local person who kind of manages that particular capability in the location where you're based. They set kind of long-term, they can work with you to help set your long-term goals. So they could give you advice around areas that you should improve or you should be focusing on in terms of development, because they know kind of what expectations are and what good looks like within their particular capability. And then there's also the wider capability as well. So you've got all the other individuals who fall into that bracket. And they can be there to provide you insights and advice as well. You have an ambassador, so in each location, there's an ambassador who's there as like an academy representative. So we've got the centralized team, but most of us are based kind of here in Leeds and from the academy team. So an academy ambassador is someone who actually has a better understanding of kind of what's going on in that particular location. They know the relevant people in a particular region or office that kind of will look after certain things. They actually work closely with the resourcing team as well, so they're making sure that the projects that you're placed on are fit for purpose. So if you're having problems on your project where you're not getting the right support that you need from your team, they can go and speak to the kind of local resourcing managers and see if there's ways that we can either counteract that, or if it's something where it's going to be a major issue, look if there's a different project that's going to be better suited to helping you with your development. We've got the academy team as a whole, so we're all going to be there. There'll be individuals that you will have met before, so you've a friendly face, so you can come and ask us if you've got any general questions, or if you might want to know about, maybe you've got some free time and you want to do some further training and development. These are some courses that we've got that we developed that you can look at, that we're there to help. And now we've also got quite an extensive alumni network, so we've been doing it in its current format for maybe 4 or so years now, and we've got over 300 people that have come through the academy. So lots and lots of individuals who've got got varying levels of experience, and they've got kind of different experiences within their own right. So you can actually lean upon them for their experiences. So the view is that we'll have obviously local Slack communities where you can go and speak to them, but we're looking at actually doing more regular meetups on a kind of local and regional level, so you can get to meet the people who are on your cohort alongside you that you might not have seen for a while, but also get to speak to people who've kind of further down their journey within the business. and in the future speak to newer people, and you can provide about them with advice and about your experiences and with throughout the academy, and then with projects that you've moved on to. Yeah, so from the academy, kind of what can you actually end up doing within the business? So there's kind of 4 key pathways that you possibly will move into, of which they are software engineering, platform engineering, data engineering, and test engineering. So they're all kind of technical roles that require kind of similar skill sets. So all kind of good problem solving skills, good kind of some programming experience, technical skills. They're working on projects alongside each other. But they're kind of the key places that you could end up within BJSS. So kind of all engineering positions. I guess one of the nice things about the academy is there's not an expectation that you need to decide which of those routes you want to go down prior to joining. So it's a really good opportunity for you actually to learn a little bit more about the roles that are available to you, develop a bit more of a rounded skill set, and actually make a more informed decision in terms of which pathway you might want to go down. In terms of before you join, so I guess wanted to include this in because we used to say just like obviously you need some coding experience, which is very vague. So it was difficult for people to actually gauge what the expectations were. So before you apply, because obviously it's not designed to teach from scratch, there is an expectation that you've got an understanding of a particular coding language. That can be any coding language. So whatever you're most comfortable with, we can assess you in. But what do we expect you to know? So we expect you to have kind of understand some of these following fundamentals. These are stated in the advert. So obviously don't. So you can actually review them before you apply because it mentions what we're looking for. But hopefully these are all things that you either have covered or will cover in the course that you're doing. So it's things like variable declaration, understand the basic syntax of how to structure and write your code, data types and data structures. Conditionals, iteration, and debugging. So when we assess you throughout the process, there's some technical assessments which you mentioned on the next bit here in the middle. With those are the kind of key things we're looking for when we're reviewing your code. So it's fairly straightforward to apply. You go to our website, you'll submit your CV, you'll have an initial conversation with a member of the talent team. It's not really an interview at that stage. That is really just an initial chat to find out a bit more about yourself and your background. They'll discuss kind of what your interests are, kind of why you're interested in BJSS, why you're looking to move into tech, and just some general kind of questions. They'll a chance for you to kind of answer any questions that you might have and give you a general overview of what to expect throughout the process as well. Then you'll do a take-home test. So it's a practical coding challenge that you at home in your own time. This is when we're looking for these things that are mentioned on the left. So when you approach these problems, are those things visible in your answers? If you're successful at that stage, we'll then invite you along to do the next stage in the process, which is a technical interview. So it's done virtually. It's an hour video interview, and we actually set you a challenge beforehand. So we give you a small challenge to develop a small piece of code to bring along with you, and then do like a pair programming exercise alongside one of our developers, where they'll obviously be looking at how you approach the initial problem, how you take on board their advice and kind of alterations that they might kind of suggest that you do, and how you, I guess obviously how well you work alongside them as well. So it's not just about your initial solution, it's about also, can you take on board advice? Do you take criticism? Well, are you using the resources that are available to you? And how well you can work alongside someone else. If you're successful then you'd be invited along to a final stage. So actually slightly changed this now. We were looking to go back to doing the final stage as an in-person small scale assessment centre, focusing on individuals' team work and kind of team and culture fit. Say again, due to COVID, we went to a fully remote process, but we're keen to get back to doing some of it in person, just because it gives us a better representation. We can get better representation of yourself when we're meeting you in person. We can assess you in a group setting, and also it's a great chance for you to get to see where you might be working, get to meet some different people from across the business, and we'll actually get some of the academy alumni involved for a bit of a meet and greet as well, so you can speak to them about their experiences firsthand. What's happened here? Okay. There's just the final few slides are just some quotes from individuals who've been through the program, so you can kind of see firsthand about some of people's experiences. So yeah, so I guess here we've got a couple of different quotes from individuals. So from Tom, first of all, says spend more time than you had set out for the pre-course learning materials. Some of the stuff in there is really useful. So said he mentioned about the pre-reading. He actually is really helpful. So try and make sure that you do it if you do get a job. It's only going to help you. I would say buckle up for the intense 4 weeks, but 4 weeks will be some of the best weeks of your life. I would say I'm definitely going to remember mine forever. It seems to be quite a common theme that comes out, but it is quite intensive, but you do cover an awful lot. I think Dan, who's the head of the academy, said he's managed to squeeze 8 weeks worth of learning into 4 weeks. So as you can imagine, there's quite a lot to do. And I think a lot of people are quite overwhelmed, but they're also at the end of it, they're usually quite pleasantly surprised by how much they actually learned when they didn't think they had done. I guess it kind of echoes that again here. Like you cover lots of different topics really fast in a really good environment to learn and adapt and gain new knowledge. So it's been designed to be difficult. And I think that's the purpose, because you're going to find yourself in difficult situations, and hopefully, if you do in the future, you've had some experience of doing that in a much safer setting because it's during the training. And then there's a couple of people I wanted to just give a bit of an overview of their background. So there's Ben here. So Ben's come from a kind of a non-traditional background it's more traditional now with ourselves because it opened it up to career changes. But he initially was a philosophy student, so he did kind of a non-technical degree at university, moved into tech recruitment. So I actually used to work with Ben. The first job that we both worked in out of university was in a recruitment agency, and we worked together. He moved from there into a number of different in-house recruitment roles. Unfortunately, he ended up losing his job due to COVID when he was working as a contractor, but he'd always been interested in tech. He was always quite techy and tech savvy. He used to go the extra mile to learn about some of the technologies that he was recruiting for, and he was keen to kind of develop those skills further. So he utilised some of the relationships that he had with kind of previous hiring managers, spoke to them about what he should be focusing on in terms of his learning and development, if a particular course he should be doing online. Use the time he had available because of lockdown to teach himself how to do that. Got in contact with myself, managed to secure a role a couple of years ago, and he's been here for kind of a couple of years now. He now works he's now a squad lead within the business, so he's supporting new people from a line management responsibility. He gets heavily involved with helping deliver the course as well. So he's a tutor whenever we deliver the new course. I guess that's another thing that people can get involved with. So further down your time within the business, we always try and get people who've come through the academy to come and help deliver the course content in the future as well. And I think that's always a really nice experience because you can see how much you've actually learned in a short period of time, because you can kind of remember yourself being in the same situation as the people who you're teaching now, asking the same kind of questions, and now you have the answers, which is really nice. And then there's Emily as well. So Emily come from a boot camp, so similar background to all yourselves. So she's a career changer. I think she came through North Coders rather than Command Shift, but she originally did English literature and Asian studies at university, went to work in a sales role for 3 years or so, decided that actually she wanted to move into tech, went through the North Coder boot camp and managed to secure a role with ourselves off the back of that. So yeah, and then she had to say, as a career changer, the Engineering Academy was an amazing introduction to both BJSS and the industry. All of the content that's not very good, well written, is it? All of the content covered from concepts to technologies were industry leading and incredibly relevant, putting me in good stead for whatever challenge came my way. The tutors were engaging, and I had a great time getting to know my fellow peers with ample opportunity through agile project work and socials throughout. So yeah, as I mentioned before, we do try and kind of implement and put in place. We try and make it fun, so we do try and put in quite a few socials so you can get to meet and know the other people who are on the program, because I think it's a nice place for you to start and to get to kind of build some relationships with those individuals who are in a similar situation to yourself. So it's nice to have that social support network as well as having kind of all the technical support that you have around you. And one final thing is just about some of the CSR initiatives that we're involved with, because we're keen to actually get this incorporated into your first kind of year or two as a member of the academy, and give you some time available to support some of our CSR initiatives across the business. So we've got various different initiatives we're involved with in each of our locations. There's usually a key focus on providing opportunities to kind of underrepresented groups for careers in technology. So we do a lot of work with local schools and school-age children, especially from kind of deprived areas, to help kind of hopefully lift the mystique in terms of what it's like to work in tech. And they can be going and talking about your experiences. We do kind of in-office experience days. We're also looking to actually start to work with Code Club as well, which are an organisation which work with school-age children aged 8 to 13, and actually go and teach them how to code. And there'll be opportunities actually for people to come and support with that. So I think obviously they're usually kind of things that people quite enjoy getting involved with. If there's a particular initiative or charity that you kind of already work for, or kind of just hold close to your heart, I'm sure there'd be opportunities for us to be able to support with that as well. And that's the end.
Great, thank you so much, Joe. That was very informative. I don't know if anyone has any questions or anything they'd like to ask Joe. Joe is in our Slack community, so I'm sure if you do have anything that you would like to ask, he is there. You can also always ask me, and I will be sharing the rollout. So you are hiring at the moment for your June cohort, isn't it?
Yeah, June and September we've got at the moment. So, oh yes, I never even mentioned that, but we do four intakes. We do 4 intakes a year. So for those, we do March, June, September, and November. So there's always usually a intake open depending on what time of year it is. So March is closed now because they're due to start in a few weeks' time. But yeah, we're actively recruiting for June and September, and then November will be opened later in the year.
Perfect. And we do have a couple of Command Shift students who are working with BJSS. I'm sure they'd be happy to enlighten anybody that might want to know a little bit more about it, or about the application process, or any tips or tricks. I'm sure they would be very happy to speak with you as well. But I don't think we have any questions. That was great, Joe. Thank you.
Covered everything. There you go. It's very good presentation.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining me.
No worries, thank you for having me. Yep. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.